on Charlie Rose, we discussed one of nature's most awesome displays. Tsunamis have devastated coastlines, towns, people since the formation of the Earth's crusts and oceans millions of years ago. Despite all of mankind's technological achievements, nothing can be done to protect from the wrath of the tsunami still. To help us learn more about tsunamis, I speak tonight with Al Gore, former vice president and Democratic presidential candidate, filmmaker, and inventor of the internet. Alongside him is Candace Patterson, who works for NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association. And lastly, I have the privilege of speaking with the beautiful Petra Nemcova, supermodel and tsunami survivor. She will tell us of her experience in Thailand, where she was vacationing in 2004 and was caught in the horrific tsunami that hit that continent. Welcome, guests. Now to you, Mr. Gore. Tsunamis. Why do they exist? Or do they exist?
Yes, Charlie, they absolutely do exist. Tsunamis are natural disasters that have occurred throughout history. Accounts have been available since times of the ancient Greeks. We know that they were first accounted for in 479 BC, 426 BC, 373 BC, 365 AD, 684 AD, and 887 AD. The real question we should be exploring, however, is what can we do to prevent tsunamis, or at least minimize their damage? As I've been saying time and time again, Charlie, I have displayed this over and over again in my movie, An Inconvenient Truth. We can avoid all of these catastrophes simply by reducing our carbon emissions. Now, the real inconvenient truth is that if we don't start switching to clean energy within the next few decades, the effects of global warming will be unbearable and devastating across the globe. Wind, solar, and other forms of clean energy must be pursued, and I've already laid out a detailed plan to Congress to blah, 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 blah.
Interesting. Now to you, Ms. Patterson, what are your thoughts?
Actually, I'd like to respond to what Mr. Gore just said. Tsunamis are not caused by ocean warming temperatures. They are more accurately a series of giant waves created when water in the ocean is rapidly displaced during earthquakes and volcanic eruptions happening on the ocean floor due to plate tectonic activity. The resulting tsunami can devastate coastlines and typically result in the loss of many human lives. Blaming global warming for naturally occurring phenomenon is simply a convenient lie for Mr. Gore.
That's interesting. So what you're saying is that tsunamis are very erratic and hard to predict.
Yes, Charlie, that's exactly what I'm saying. They are very hard to precisely predict. However, some warning can be given by the fact that the first part of the tsunami to hit the coastline will be the trough. This means that the sea line will recede and parts of the floor that are normally completely submerged will now be visible for a few minutes.
I was affected by the tsunami in 2004 when I was vacationing in Thailand. In hindsight, I wouldn't have allowed curiosity to captivate me. I would have run for the hills. It would have been a lot easier. I didn't even see it coming, and before I knew it, the coast was engulfed with water, and I had to grab onto a palm tree while my pelvis got shattered from the debris and the pressure. My fiance didn't make it, and I was lucky because I left with my life.
Sad. Really sad. Mr. Gore, your response?
Well, I'm really sorry about your loss, Petra, but what we really need to focus on here is the harmful effects of global warming. Blah, 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 blah.
Mr. Gore, I believe we're discussing tsunamis. Please stay on the topic.
Well, Charlie, if you don't believe me, you can look it up on the internet, which I helped create. You see, the internet has brought along a whole new information age. Blah, 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 blah.
All right, that's enough from Mr. Gore. Now on to the four-pronged process. Let's discuss two aspects, government and economics. What can developing countries, such as those affected by the 2004 tsunami, do to provide ample relief to its citizens? What is politically and economically feasible?
Well, I think it's important, first and foremost, to have detailed alert and evacuation guidelines in the case of tsunami. Politically, this is completely possible. However, the problem lies in raising enough money for disaster relief, and this is where the international community and NOAA comes into play. This also raises discussions in the devastated communities. They need to decide when and where they want to rebuild.
I have since devoted my life to advocacy for global disasters. There are many children out there who don't even have puppies their own age, and I think that it's our job as a global society and for the government to come up with policies so that children can have clean water and puppies, and then we could all hope for world peace.
Well, that wraps it up for tonight's discussion. It's been interesting, it's been heart-wrenching, and at some points it's even been boring. But that's life, isn't it? Join me next week on Charlie Rose for another interesting discussion. The armpit. What is it, and why is it so hairy?